Guys, Goldman Sachs predicts that AI is going to replace 300 million jobs over the next several years. They're not the only ones. McKinsey, all these big consulting firms are giving huge estimates to how many jobs are going to be completely replaced, or in some places changed dramatically, requiring upskilling and new tools. But over the past few weeks, I've seen a comment on the channel quite frequently, and I just don't understand it. And the comment typically was something like this: AI is a fraud, AI is fake, AI stands for un-Indian or always Indian. And look, guys, I think you're completely wrong here. In this video, I'm gonna give you personal examples of how AI has completely transformed my life and my business. There's about 5 to 7 different experiences that I've had, almost religious experiences, where I was like, the world will never be the same. And what's interesting about AI is that every week or every month I have an experience like that. And so I want to give you some personal experiences so that I can kind of better explain why I'm so bullish on this, because it's a big deal. But look, you don't even just need to take my word for it, or even take Goldman Sachs or McKinsey's word for it. The proof is in the pudding, guys. Big tech firms are laying off tens of thousands of people. I actually recorded an entire video about what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft is laying off 10%. They've already laid off 10% of their workforce. We had a big discussion on that. I'll post the link to the video there, because if you're not paying attention now, guys, you're gonna be dead in the water. Now is the time, because, and the thing that I say to these guys are like, this is all a grift, or it's the green new scam, or whatever. I'm like, dude, the proof is in the pudding. It's already happening. So don't come in here and tell me that AI is not real. It's already happening. I mean, why are companies investing hundreds of billions of dollars in database construction if it's not the real deal? Why would they do that? It doesn't make sense. You know, corporations are many things, but if they're one thing, they're incredibly selfish. These big corporations don't care about you or me or saving the planet, generally speaking. They care about their bottom line. They care about profit. And Mazel Tov, I get that. I get that. So why would these companies spend hundreds of billions of dollars on a scam? It doesn't make any sense to me. I record an entire video. I'm going to give you a few videos, guys, as proof. And these are getting thousands and thousands of views. I recorded a video on Meta building a $100 billion data center in the middle of Louisiana that's the size of Manhattan. Why would they do that for a scam? It doesn't make sense to me. So don't come on the channel and tell me it's some sort of big scam and it's not real. You know what that says to me? It says to me that you're scared. And I get it. I can understand the fear that you feel. It seems so big or so impossible that you're just so scared that you bury your head in the sand. But that, guys, and this is one of the reasons, I'm not going to get into it in this video. This requires its own video. That's why I'm specifically focused on this channel and on my newsletter, the AI Update, on helping men thrive and crush it during this time. You know, because men need to feel respected and we need to be financially free in order to provide for our families. And I'm not going to get into, discrimination against women, because that's not the intent at all. My intent is to help you as men. And this mentality of AI is a scam or it's always an Indian that's your right to feel that way. But if you're wrong, you're going to get really hurt, man. You're going to get really hurt. And you can even look at the job listings. AI related job listings are up 100% over last year. You're just going to have a hard time operating. And I'm going to give you some personal experiences. I run what I would consider a boutique marketing firm, and we do consulting, video editing, things like that. And, funnel building, media buying, ad buying, which quite frankly, I might not even be doing in 3 to 4 years, because marketing is going to get really hit hard in this AI surge. We're already seeing it. This is part of the reason why I'm on here talking about it, because as I'm learning, you can learn with me. We can read the news. We can look at ways to solve problems, and we'll talk a little bit about that in this video. Regardless, when I'm talking to a potential team member or employee, if they are not using, one of the questions I ask is, how are you using AI to do your job better? What are some ways that you'd like to experiment with AI? And by the way, if a team member wants to use AI or they want to use a new tool, I will pay for it. I will test it. I want to see the results. And if I like them, we'll double down and we'll implement an SOP amongst other team members, and I'll share that here. But here's the deal, guys. If someone comes to me and they're not using AI or they don't have a good answer to that, I'm not hiring them. I can't hire you because you're not thinking differently at a time where thinking differently is absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial. All right. So I want to give you some personal examples for all the fellas out there who are telling me that this is some sort of scam or I'm just trying to sell you into an expensive program or something like that, which one day maybe I will offer a program like that. That's not my intention right now. That's not part of my business plan. Maybe in another Saturday, I'll go over what my actual business plan is with the channel. But here's the deal. Here are some ways that I've personally used AI, and I've personally seen AI, and it's been a life-changing moment. I've got about 5 to 6 different examples here. And if you've had a life-changing moment, I want to hear about it in the comments too. If there has been a moment that AI you had an experience, like an otherworldly religious experience with AI, write in the comments below, because I would like to hear about it so that I can use that as fuel to tell all these people that this is not a fake thing, this is real. Okay, and that's, again, when people say that, I'm just gonna say, check out this video. This is my response to you, because you're wrong. And if you're as wrong as I think you are, you might be on the breadline in a few years. So the first experience I had was at a podcasting conference. This was about 3 years ago. And what my company originally did was we would edit podcasts and repurpose them for social media. And one of the bigger expenses to that was writing out show notes, descriptions, and doing all the, writing blogs, etc. And I would pay a team member about $100 per episode to write out all this information. It was pretty expensive, considering clients were sometimes recording 3 episodes a week. In any event, I'm paying people $100 per episode to do all this this writing of notes. So I'm walking through the conference hall, and this young lady pulls me over. Her name is Deidre. She runs a company called Capshow. She pulls me over and she says, "Hey, I want to show you this AI copywriting tool." And I was like, what is that? Pulls me over and she says, upload an episode or upload a podcast. It was a 30-minute long podcast. Uploaded it, and within about 20 seconds, it wrote out potential titles. It wrote out an entire description. It created a transcript. It gave key takeaways within 20 seconds. And it needed a little bit of cleanup. It was a little bit rough. But I was able to handle that entire description in 5 minutes. And guys, this is the type of work that used to take a couple hours, and it cost me $100 to pay somebody to do it. Life-changing moment right there, boys. I signed up immediately, implemented it, increased profit margins immediately. Crazy. And these are the type of things, guys, that can happen where I had another incident where I had a team member who was kind of like a virtual assistant who was doing this type of work, who quit, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna hire someone else to do this work. But instead of actually hiring someone, I just used AI. I was like, oh, I don't even need to hire someone. I'll just have AI do what this guy was doing. And I saved myself several $100 a month for that virtual assistant. So again, that's situation number 1, where I was personally touched and personally experienced AI, and it changed my life. The next, I think, event that I can remember, and there's been multiple events, but the other big event was when I was able to use ChatGPT for the first time, and I said the world will never be the same. This was, about 2 years ago. And up to that point, my position was always, well, let's Google it. But once I realized that, wait a minute, ChatGPT can use Google just as well as I can, but it can also contextualize things to my specific question. Well, Google is good for like general answers and results. ChatGPT can be super, super specific. So instead of just asking it, what's the best restaurant in Tampa Bay, I can say, I'm married, I got 2 kids, these are my food tastes, I'm looking for the best restaurants in Tampa Bay. I want them to be within a 30-minute radius. I want it to be next to a pool hall so I can go play pool afterwards. It'll contextualize all that into it. And once I realized that I could get these custom responses, I was like, this is amazing. And I was using ChatGPT for copywriting, for list building, idea generation. I used the API and implemented it into a handful of automations within my creative agency. I was using it for research. I was all over the place. And I bought the pro account several months back. I don't even know how long, a year back. And I haven't turned back since. It's just so impactful. So again, that was another moment where I realized the world would never be the same. Another thing that I did with ChatGPT too, this is not necessarily a business related idea, was I used the voice assistant to keep my kids busy. So we're in the car and my kids just keep asking me question after question after question after question. I'm like, you know what? I just need a little peace and quiet. It's been a long day. All my fathers out there, all my parents out there get this. And so I said, hey, ChatGPT, please tell me a story about how the beautiful Princess Adeline slayed the mighty dragon and saved the kingdom. And it's like, boop, did it. And this was using voice. So it was able to actually speak and tell the story. It didn't just write the story and I tell it, it would tell it. And of course, there's a bunch of different types of voices you can use. Big deal. I guess that's my third. Anyway, the next, and I think this was a surreal moment for me that happened about a year and a half ago, is a voice cloning operation. So I recorded a podcast. I had a fairly big podcast called After Hours Entrepreneur. And there was an episode, at the time, 11 Labs had come out with a voice cloning AI bot. And I uploaded a previous episode that I recorded. I created the text for the episode using ChatGPT. And I uploaded it all up into 11 Labs. And within about 5 minutes, it had read in my voice almost perfectly the entire episode. It wasn't perfect. We'll say it was about 85% of the way there, but I was able to go in and kind of like tweak and add commas and correct, tweak some spelling to get a better sound. So within a few minutes, I was able to have an entire podcast episode. This is about almost a year and a half, 2 years ago, guys. I was able to get a very good sounding podcast that was fully AI generated. Again, this is about 2 years ago. The quality of the audio right now is unbelievable. It's shocking how good these AI voice agents are. In any event, I had that AI podcast. I uploaded it to my RSS feed. I boosted it out. And then at the very end of the podcast, there was an announcement that, oh, by the way, this entire podcast you listen to is AI generated. This isn't even me speaking. This is an AI voice. I got dozens of emails from people saying, holy cow, I didn't know this was possible. And frankly, I didn't know it was possible until I actually did it. And just a side note, this is one of the reasons I'm getting out of the podcast industry, which is something that my agency had really focused on, is because with AI, it's just so easy to make this stuff that the value that I'm adding to the marketplace has been diluted tremendously. It's really hard to stand out now because there's so much AI voice podcasts. I actually recorded an entire video on how AI music is completely changing the way that the world works. I'll share a link to it there. There was a band that is like one of the most popular streaming bands on Spotify, and then they just announced, oh, by the way, this is fully AI. I'll link a video to that. It was a very popular video. A lot of musicians are kind of upset about that. But AI voice is crazy good. It's only getting better. I'll give you another quick example of a business that I know that's operating. There's a friend of a friend who's running a business that uses AI voice agents to call old, lonely, retired people in retirement homes. They have no one to speak to, which can result in early onset dementia. And what do? Well, this AI voice agent will call them daily to talk to them, chat with them, so they're not as lonely. This guy's he's probably clearing $100,000 a month now in profit, just using the AI voice agents. They sound really good. Not to mention sales, customer service. The the opportunities are really endless. And quite frankly, this is something that, if you're thinking, how do I make a lot of money in the AI age? Voice right now, I think, is really popping off. So you can find a cool angle, a cool niche. You can really clean up with AI voice. It's not incredibly difficult to set up, and it is a big deal. I should probably spend a lot more time focusing on AI voice and how I can make it work in different ways. So there's another idea. There was another aha moment I had sticking on AI voice. This happened to me about 4 months ago. I was talking to a friend of mine at a men's group at church. He runs a title agency. He's not a super techie guy, but he comes up to me and said, "Hey, Mark, look, I have a podcast now." This was another thing. It was like, I got to get out of podcasting. This is crazy. He had used Notebook LM to write an entire podcast, record the podcast in voice, and then upload the podcast to an RSS feed. So he was able to create a podcast on Spotify for podcasters in about 30 minutes, fully AI generated. Yeah, crazy. Using Google's Notebook LM. It sounded really good. I was listening to it. I was like, this sounds better than most humans sound on their podcasts. Crazy. Another key moment that happened, and this was just like an eye-opening moment that just happened recently. There was a video, an AI video that published about a year ago, of Will Smith eating spaghetti, and it looked crazy. His hands were merging with the spaghetti. It was like his hair was turning into spaghetti. It looked insane. You're like, and a lot of people at the time were saying AI video is stupid, AI video is not real, this is ridiculous. Well, then Google VO3 happened, and I just saw the same video just recently of Will Smith eating spaghetti using AI, and it was like 98% perfect. I mean, it is happening, boys. AI video is for real. I actually recorded, I know I'm shouting out a lot of videos because I want to bring receipts to this video. I recorded a video about how Netflix is now using AI VFX to reduce their costs tremendously and increase their efficiency 10x. The director of this movie, The Eternaut, announced that it was 10 times faster to produce this. So I'm going to put a link to that here because I think that that's an interesting exploration into what's actually happening with AI video. Once you've seen it, you're like, holy crap, the world's never going to be the same. So don't come and tell me that this is all hyperbolic and it's all fear-mongering. Guys, you can see it right there. You got to pull your head out of the sand. I'll give you another example of of a moment where AI just completely shocked me. And this happened just recently. The CTO of an organization that I do marketing consulting for sent me a large table, a large Excel spreadsheet / table. And when I first looked at it, I was like, I don't know what I'm reading. This is confusing. There's a lot of abbreviations on here that I'm not familiar with. I just don't know what this is. So I uploaded it I was halfway through writing an email to him to say, hey, can you explain what this is? I'm not sure. What does this mean? What does this mean? And I was like, you know what? Before I actually send out this email, let's see if ChatGPT knows what's going on. Uploaded to ChatGPT. ChatGPT read it, interpreted it, gave me conclusions, assumptions. I prompted a few more times to go a little bit deeper to kind of help with some theories, some hypotheses, some things that we can, as an organization, test. Boom, done. And so there's a few things that happen here that I think are distinct. One of which is I was able to save time. This saves time sending him an email, him thinking about it, reading it, sending it back, me replying. So it saves a lot of time going back and forth. A, and then B, I don't look like an idiot. I look like someone who actually understands what they're doing, which I do, by the way, but I'm able to save face. And by using ChatGPT to save face, I'm become much more valuable to the organization because I'm able to save time. I'm able to solve problems, which, by the way, guys, is the key to AI, being able to solve problems faster and more effectively. It's not about trading time for money. It's about trading problems and solutions for money. In any event, if you're not using ChatGPT to read complicated data sets, I would strongly recommend that you do. Always, and of course, trust but verify. And then I'm going to give you one last way that was just completely shocking and mind-blowing to me that happened just about a month and a half ago. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying this, of course you can comment below, but just give me a subscribe, like. The channel is blowing up right now because there's men just like you that understand what's happening and they want to stay up to date. And I'm going to bring you the best news that I can. I'm going to bring you the best effort that I can every day of the week except for Sunday. Monday through Saturday, you are going to get fresh videos from me here, and you're going to get fresh newsletters from me at the AIupdate.ai, my newsletter. One of the problems that I have, and I was talking to my wife about this the other day, is that I don't know what to talk about. There's so many interesting stories to cover. I had the same problem today, but I was like, you know what? I actually want to address the people that I think are misguided on AI. So I pick the best one to talk about here on the channel, and then I'm placing, all the other big stories and implications on the newsletter at AIupdate.ai. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the video. So let's talk about this last moment that just happened about a month and a half ago, which blew my mind. And it was when I started vibe coding with a program called Replit. So I'm trying to find the best way to explain this because it was so profound. Basically, I was thinking about, and I was in this course with this guy, John Chaney, who's a stud when it comes to AI training. And I'm going through this training and he says, okay, we're going to, in this 3-day course, you're going to create an online business. And so one of the problems was it was hard to kind of figure out exactly what business I want to create, but I came up with an idea. We started with ChatGPT to flesh out the idea. We went over to Grok to do research on the idea, find data to kind of streamline it. We go back to ChatGPT and we created in ChatGPT a very comprehensive yet concise mega prompt. We took that prompt and we brought it over to Replit. And what Replit does is it builds software and writes code with AI. And I upload it and it goes to work. And about 10 minutes later, I had a functional, it wasn't perfect. It does require a lot of tweaking, but I had a functional website that looked great. I started implementing API integrations like Grok, ChatGPT, GitHub, Mailgun, excuse me, not GitHub, Mailgun, Stripe for payment processing, integrated all that using the APIs I already had. And now I'm able to process payments, and I connected my Amazon store to the website. It's just unbelievable what was possible. And once you've experienced something like this, and I've made a few different solutions using this program, this tool. And for someone like me who has no experience with coding, being able to write code and implement software like that is kind of an aha moment. And I talked about this at length in another video about how I saved 90% on software. I'll put a link to it there where I go more in depth into what I was able to accomplish the way I'm seeing this. But this was another moment for me. I was like, okay, the world is never going to change. And this, my friends, is exactly why big tech companies are laying off tens of thousands of employees right now. Because what used to require a team now requires one person with an AI model. And I know what the software engineers and the coders and all my friends out there that do this stuff are going to say. You're either going to say, yes, Mark, you're right. Or you're going to say, well, the coding sucks. It's not very good. It's not intuitive. And I hear you. But it is going to get way better, guys. It's going to get way better. And the data processing is going to get way cheaper. The models are going to get better, just like we saw with the Will Smith spaghetti video. And just what happened with VO3. It is going to get way better. And the writing's on the wall, okay? And now is the time where it's important that you're paying attention, that you're upskilling, that you're solving interesting problems, because this is how you're going to retain clients. This is how you're going to gain ownership stake in other companies. This is the way, boys. This is the way. And I just I personally feel, and I think it's a very risky move to say AI is fake. It's always India. It's just a big scam. And I get it that there are scams out there where people who are going to sell you the world and deliver a peanut. But AI is for real. And these examples, I think, are a perfect highlight of how real it is. It's not stopping. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video as much as I think you did because you're still watching, you're really going to enjoy yesterday's video where I talk about where we're going to explore how robo-taxis are completely taking over the world. Elon Musk announced that he believes that Tesla will get to a $20 trillion valuation. And what does that mean for stock values? What does that mean for jobs? And how is he actually planning on executing that? I cover it all in yesterday's video. You can check that out here. And thanks for being here on the channel, boys. Make it great. Bye.